Zhongtuo Raw Forming Machinery Company Limited. You have saw a lot of machines just now, and now I'd like to compare two same machines for you. Yes, for roofing sheet machines, you can see many difference. And now, here are there are two set of roofing sheet raw forming machines. And actually, if you get their quotation, you can see that they have almost the same configurations in their quotation. But right now I will show you so many differences between them that are not shown in the quotation sheet. Okay, everyone come here please. Let me point out the differences one by one for you. As we all know, a complete roofing sheet production line includes a decoiler, main roofing machine, a cutter, receiving table, hydraulic station, and a PLC control cabinet. Now let's first focus on this one. And for these two, you can see obviously they are different. Look at this one. First, let's look at the decoiler. You can see there is a big wheel because it is very convenient for you to wheel it, and because this is a manual decoiler, so you need to turn the wheel to uncoil the coils. Yeah, for the big wheel, it's very convenient and user-friendly. And here is the brake. In working, if you need it to stop emergently, you can use the brake. Look, it can brake very good. Okay, it has a very good decoiler. But for this one, you can see it doesn't have a decoiler. And actually, if it has a decoiler, its decoiler won't have the big wheel nor brake. Now let's go on the next step. Now let's focus on the feeder. For this machine, you can see it has 1, 2, 3, 4 spotter rollers to help support feeding. In this way, the raw material can fix directly inside it and can protect from being scratched. And in this way, raw material can fix the continuous. And now let's focus on this one. For this feeder, you can see it is very simple. Yeah, it just has a dot, 1, 2 on two sides, only a metal in the middle. If you put raw material from this feeder, your raw material can jump out very easily. That would be bad. And for this metal, it may scratch the paint of your material. It's the second disadvantage. And now let's go on to the feeding part of this machine. Yeah, for this machine, you can see its rollers. You can see its diameter of the rollers is very, very small, and the parts out is very little. And for upper and bottom rollers, their working model is different. For the bottom rollers, it is driven by the self, but for the upper rollers, it is driven passive. So in this way, if you want to feed raw material, your worker need to work very hard to try to feed the raw material, because they don't work because the two layers of the rollers don't work at the same time. But look at this machine. First, you can see the rollers. The rollers is very big, yeah, much higher outer, and the diameter is much bigger than that one. And for the spacers, it is chromed. And in this way, it can anti-dust and rusting. And by the way, for these rollers, the upper rollers and the bottom rollers, they both can work at the same time. They both drive by themselves, because you can see there are gears here. In this way, the two rollers can work together, and your worker can easily feed raw material. Now let's go on. And for this machine, you can see there's X-shaped diagonals, the spotter in X shape, so that it can help spot the main frame to make it work more stable and strong. But for this machine, there's nothing inside. But in this way, your machine will be not strong enough, and maybe if you have it work a little bit fast, it may shake. Okay. And for the spacers, it's just oil painted, and yes, for the rollers, really small. And for the bottom rollers, you can see it's so small. In this way, the manufacturers just try to save cost as much as possible. And in this way, there are usually more than 10 roller stations in a machine. And in this way, the two weights of the two machines. For each roller stations, the cost can be maybe 10 times difference. So in total, the machine cost will be very huge. Many times you ask us why your machine is much expensive or more expensive than others, and your quotation looks like the same. That's why I told you, and that's the answer of your questions. You can see the difference of the machines. And now let's go on. Then let's focus on the chains. You can see they use the single chains of it. It is a chain-driven model, and they use single chains. And for this machine, come here please. This machine, it uses double chains. In this way, it can give the machine much stronger power and have it work more stable. Now let's focus on the next part. For this black part of it, you can see it's very thick and strong, and the wall panel is much thicker. Its thickness of this wall panel is 20 millimeters, and of that one, it is only 16. And this part of that machine is much narrower. It's thinner. Yes. Now let's go on to next part. Okay, everyone. I got it. Also, for the feeders, let's focus on the wheel. For this one, you can see there is measures to measure the sizes. You can, in this way, you can change the feeding material wise. You can see it moves. You can decide the material once you need in this way. And it has measures here. You can see clearly how much you need to move. But for this feeder, nothing. If you want to change the feeding wise, you need to screw the bolts and move it hardly. It is troublesome and cannot work precise. Then let's focus on the big frame. For this machine frame, its height of the frame is only 250, and also the metal is thicker. But for this one, the height of it is 350, much higher and thicker. You can see it's thicker. And the thickness is about 3 times of this one. Yeah, let's go on. Now, let's look at the motors. You can see of this machine, the motors is much bigger and looks very stronger. It has a bigger power. But for this one, look, only this little bit, maybe only 1/3 of that one. It's very small, you can see. Yeah, and now next let's look at its hydraulic station. And for this machine, you can see this hydraulic station is very big. It has big motor, a big box, and fan cooling system. In this way, it can assure your machine to work more stable, and to ensure your sheets can be well shaped. Now let's look at this station. Yeah, but for this machine, look at it. It's very small. Maybe also less than half of that one. I have a small motor, small box, and no cooling system. In this way, since it hasn't cooling system, after some time of working, the oil in it will get heat, and it will make your machine working unstable. It is bad. Now let's look at the control cabinet for this machine. It is fixed on the machine to save space, but actually also to save cost. Let's open it. Yeah, you can see it is just several buttons here. All the buttons are Chinese brand, normal brand. You can also see the lines of cables, and they are also used at normal Chinese brand. Now let's go to the other machines control cabinet. But for this machine, first look at the sizes of it. First, it is an independent control cabinet, and it is high. For only the shell of it is its cost is about five-fold of that cabinet. And all the buttons are made of famous Germany brand. And for the screen, we use Taiwan brand Delta. And also for the PLC system, we usually also use Delta. Now let's look at the back. Now you can see here we use fixed aviation plug to make it fixed in order, and all our others labels are fixed in order and marked. And they are also made of famous Germany brand. And the total cost of this cabinet is much higher than that cabinet. Then let's look at the color. Yeah, for this machine's color, you can see first its frame is very thick and very big. And they also look good cylinder, 1 to 2 cylinders. The cost of a cylinder is much higher than the yellow round one. And for this plate, it can push the press to the cutter. And for this cutter, it has 2 lines of bolts, but the cutter is just inserted. In this way, the cutter can work a very long time and don't fear of the fat of the shaking when working. And it has 4 colors of it. In this way, it is very strong and it can work very stable. Now let's look at this color. First, you can see it's very simple, and for this frame, it is much thinner. And as I said, this kind of cylinder is much more simpler and cheaper than that one. Not work as well as that it. And for the cutter, you can see it is just fixed by bolts. There are many bolts on the cutter. But the problem is, after some times of working, and each time it works, the cutter will shake, and the power will make the ball solution, and even make the cutter break at last. But for that big machine, the cutter can work very long. It is much better than it. And of course, the cost of this cutter is much higher than that one. And totally, you can see many differences in these machines. And actually, if you want to see many more differences, you can you can contact us, and we can explain them in details more for you. Next time when you get quotations, don't just look at the numbers or figures on the quotation. Try to ask more questions beside the quotation sheet, because what is shown on the quotation is not complete. You'll need to try to learn more. And once again, our aim is less profit, best solution, and long-term business and relationship. Trust Zhongtuo. We will help you explore more, and we would like to be we would like to join your success story. Any questions, just send us inquiries. Thank you.